60 years ago, I was a dirty, curly-haired kid running through my grandmother's house. Cousins were everywhere. Uncles and aunts were telling stories. Some were repeats of favorites, and others often led to surprises. All the while this is going on, grandmother was frying a platter of chicken for dinner. She had lots of help, and the kitchen was in the path of all traffic, so it got kind of crowded. The old house, the pecan trees where I could climb higher than ever before, and oh, the magical garage. Unused for years, it still held vices, grinders, and a really fun chain hoist. All a bit rusty and dusty, but that didn't matter. But time passed and lives were lived. The Sunday dinners became memories instead of events. As pleasant as these memories of relatives are, there was always a thin veil surrounding them. My sister and I were adopted, and the only blood we shared was mother's. I was the red-headed stepchild. The thread of my life led me far away from all this. The only family I knew for decades was in-laws from unfortunate unions. Family ties became just an abstract idea. A recent dark period in my life caused me to reach back to the past in search of happier times. A tiny thread pulled me back to Texas, and once there, I discovered magic. The first visit was too much to experience during my short stay, and it wasn't long before I wanted to return for more. I went back. I was once again in the village. My sister and her progeny had arranged a dinner. Kids were running around, stories being told, memories shared. It was lovely. All of a sudden, I was hit hard with the realization I am truly related to every person in this house, thanks to my sister. These are my people, my tribe, my family, and I'm so proud of all of them. Another time I cooked my famous chili that takes 2 days to make. Everyone came to my sister's place, and once again we were all gathered. Now my sister is the great-grandmother, and I am the oldest, except for Mom. She couldn't be here. The house was crowded with family and friends. Of course the chili was perfect. Marinated sirloin, dried ancho pepper, fresh tomatoes, only beef stock for liquids, onions, and just the right amount of seasoning for a little lingering heat. They were surprised that a Nebraska person knows beef. Texas vanity. I found it striking that every single place you look, you will see a Texas outline, a Texas flag, or the word Texas on or in everything. Big Red fans cannot hold a candle to Texas pride. Beyond family, there were friends too. Some of the more memorable events were day trips in the rental car. A nicer car than I had ever driven. A hot girl riding along. Not a thing planned, just spontaneous exploration. What could be better? When the tall girl joins me, it's like her magic combines with mine and amplifies both. Conversations soar, adventures just appear, and we hit every green light. On one trip, we walked along the river, and later we stole an ear of corn from a cornfield. On a different trip, out with another, I stole something else. We had driven a scenic route through the hill country, and when our ride was over, I dropped her off at her car. We were supposed to be platonic, and we were, right up until the goodbye. We shared an awkward one-arm hug over the console, and she went to her car. I realized I didn't know how to get to the airport. I got out, spreading my arms, asking, "Where do I go?" She came to me, and we shared a proper hug. Time and space melted away until all existence was within that hug. I found myself cradling her head in my hand and whispering, "I love you. I know. I know. I love the broken girl. I love the tall girl. I love my sister. And I love you." As I talked, I felt the tiniest, almost imperceptible brush of lips against my cheek. Peck. And after a moment, another. Peck. It may have been 3 before I caught on. I turned and planted one right on her lips. A little off-center, but more than sufficient. It was perfect. Not too long, but long enough to establish intent. Not too hard, but firm enough. And I whispered, "I stole this kiss." I let her go and walked a ways into the parking lot to yell at the sky, "I stole that kiss." Partly out of exuberance, and partly just in case any clarification was needed. I made it to the airport with less than 2 minutes to spare, and lifted away with a lifetime of memories. As much as I wanted it to last forever, goodbyes had to be said, and I returned home. Life in the village is non-stop, 24/7. After a week of socializing with new and old friends, sweltering 100-degree high humidity, long nights and noise, the silence at home was deafening. But with that silence came clarity. Alone and in the stillness, inspiration was flooding in to fill the quiet places. I started working on 3 projects at once. It felt good to come home to my little house. I love my little house. I love my crazy yard. After all, why did I spend 15 years making this place what I want? I was actively making plans to stay down there. But why do that when I have a perfectly fine place already here where I can do my work? Those distractions are fine to inspire creativity when lived in the moment. But clarity is needed to bring out the ideas. Alone and in the silence, my ideas take form. Perhaps it's better if I'm that funny uncle that just drops in from time to time. I still have many ideas waiting to take shape.